I noticed his hand before anything else. Steady, precise, like he'd practiced a motion 100 times. He assumed no one was paying attention, but I was. From across the hall, beneath the warm glow of the lights and the noise of everyone celebrating, I watched my father tip a tiny silver packet over my drink. The powder melted instantly. The champagne bubbled, shimmered, then calmed as if nothing had happened. People laughed. Cameras flashed. My name circled the room like a toast of success, but his betrayal cut through it all like a blade. I didn't react. I didn't even blink. I smiled the way a daughter is supposed to smile at her proud father. Back then, I still wanted to believe in him. He used to tell me I was his greatest achievement, that I had inherited his intelligence, his ambition. When I got accepted into law school, he cried and told me I'd surpass him one day. I believed him once. Everything shifted after my mother left. He remarried almost immediately. My new stepmother arrived with her daughter, Lena, perfect, polished, effortlessly adored. My father began calling her sweetheart, and somehow I became invisible. At first it was small things, forgotten calls, broken plans. Then the bigger ones. My tuition money accidentally rerouted into Lena's boutique startup. Secretive conversations I wasn't meant to overhear. She'll be fine. She doesn't need it. And I did manage, just not with him. But that night, the night of my graduation celebration, he gathered everyone as if trying to rewrite the story, as if he still deserved a place in my success. He wore the same old watch whose ticking once dictated my curfew. It gleamed as he slipped the powder into my drink, and in that moment, everything snapped into place. It wasn't the first time. It hadn't been coincidence. My mother's collapse last winter, her dizziness, her confusion, the hospital visit, the doctor's note, mild poisoning, likely sedative. She blamed stress. I dismissed it as unfortunate timing. But staring at my glass that night, I understood it had been him all along, maybe to control her, maybe to quiet her, maybe to protect something he didn't want exposed. I didn't confront him. Not yet. I smiled when he lifted his glass and announced, "To my brilliant daughter." And I returned that smile, the kind that hides blade behind softness. Then I stood. My heels echoed across the marble. Faces turned toward me. I raised my champagne. "To the people who raise us," I said, "and to the truths they show us in the end." He didn't notice me subtly angle the glass toward Lena. She let out a light, girlish laugh and took it. "You're always so poetic," she joked before downing the entire drink. Applause burst through the room. My father clapped too. I waited. 10 minutes. Maybe less. Lena stumbled first. Just a tiny wobble everyone mistook for a tipsy moment. Then confusion washed over her face. Then the collapse. Laughter died. Music cut off. Silence swallowed the room. That's when he looked at me. His expression drained, panic flooding in. His eyes flicked from me to the empty glass, back to me again. I saw the calculations behind his gaze, the excuses, the half-formed lies, the desperate attempt to rewrite the moment. But I was faster. She drank from my glass. I said softly, letting everyone hear. I tried to stop her. Chaos erupted. Someone called emergency services. My stepmother screamed. I stood perfectly still, watching the man who once taught me strategy lose control of his own game. The police came. Statements were taken. Toxicology didn't take long. Unprescribed sedatives mixed with alcohol, not lethal, but dangerous enough to raise serious questions, especially when the same compound appeared in my mother's old medical tests, especially when they found identical packets in his desk drawer under stress relief. He denied everything. Of course he did. But he couldn't explain the recordings I'd saved, months of carefully collected evidence, his hushed conversation with his insurance advisor. If she's declared unfit, the funds transfer automatically. He met me. He wanted the inheritance my mother left solely in my name. But he underestimated me. Everything I knew I'd learned from him, except mercy. Lena survived, though she remembers nothing. My stepmother left him in a storm of accusations. He eventually pled guilty to a lesser charge, reckless endangerment. But it didn't matter. His reputation died long before the verdict. The released documents, the interviews, The whispers, they finished him. His company cut all ties. His name became toxic. And I didn't have to touch a thing after that night. People sometimes ask if I regret it. I don't. I never poisoned anyone. I never raised my voice. I simply let the truth reach the person who tried so hard to hide it. Poison has a way of returning to the one who mixes it. Under those golden lights, as he watched everything crumble, I finally understood the man who raised me. His hunger for control, the precision, the manipulation. The only difference between us is that I knew when to stop. I poured myself a fresh glass, lifted it gently, and whispered, almost to myself, to family, the ones who build us, and the ones who destroy themselves trying to break us. And then I drank, smiling,